Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 206 of the FCPA Compliance and Ethics Report. The FCPA Compliance and Ethics Report is sponsored by Advanced Compliance Solutions, your one-stop shop for all compliance solutions, FCPA related and others. Today I have with me Kortney Nordrum. Kortney is with the SCCE. She heads up many of the social media initiatives of the organization, and I had the chance to catch up with her at the end of the SCCE 2015 Compliance and Ethics Institute, which has been recently concluded. She talks about how you can get involved with the SCC, what opportunities are there for you to interact with other compliance professionals, and how you can get some of your ideas and thoughts out through the various social media initiatives the organization has. We've got unfortunately, some feedback and static from Roy Snell, who dips his head in the middle of it. The episode comes in at just under 17 minutes. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening. Compliance and Ethics Report. Today, I am sitting with Kortney Nordrum, the Projects Manager at SCCE. She is on day 5 of the 2015 Compliance and Ethics Institute. To say she has put in a heck of a week would be understating heck quite a bit. So, but I was able to get her to take some time to talk about one of the subjects that we both have a very large mutual interest in, and that is the social media and outreach efforts of the SCCE. So with that, Kortney, thanks a lot for taking the time to visit with me.
Thanks, Tom. I'm happy to take the time out. Thanks for seeking me out.
So why don't you tell us about some of the social media efforts that you guys have been engaged in the past, what we're doing today, and what we hope to do going forward.
Great. So Roy was kind of a pioneer. Roy is our CEO of social.
Who's Roy?
Our CEO of SCCE, Roy Snell.
Thank you.
He was kind of a pioneer in the social media world, and he started really pushing probably 2007, 2008. And that was before many associations and many businesses started realizing the value in social media. From there, we are on all of the major social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+, SlideShare. We're on Reddit, technically. There's not a lot of activity there. And then we also have our own social media platform that we call SCCE Net. Between all of these media channels, we have about 140,000 points of contact. So our goal is to continue providing really good content to everyone in all of these shapes and forms across all of these platforms. We want to try and build through giving information away. So as I referred to Roy before, his philosophy is to give them the information, give them what they can value, and then everyone will learn to trust you, and you'll become a trusted resource online and in person.
So what you've described, though, from my perspective as an SCCE member, is really just the start, because the social media platform that you all have created is not only to deliver information to memberships, but it's also for members like me to present information that can be shared across the entire spectrum of everything you have. So why don't you talk about how the SCCE and you would use member like me to help put something on your various platforms and then get that message out.
So as the listeners probably know, you are an avid blogger. And when you blog, you usually post to the SCCE LinkedIn groups. And that's one of the ways that we encourage our members and encourage people who follow us online to really engage with other members and other people who are interested in compliance and ethics. We love having the discussion groups. We love having the rich content shared across all of the platforms from both our membership and from the content we create. Part of it, however, is the awareness. So when you put it on LinkedIn, we want to make sure that everyone knows it's there. So that's when you start kind of combining all of the platforms together. So if you put it on LinkedIn, we're going to take it from LinkedIn. We're going to tweet that it's on LinkedIn. We're going to put it on Facebook that it's on LinkedIn. And we may even reference the blogs at some point. So it's using all of the cross-functional media online to really promote every piece of information. We do it from our perspective, but from the membership perspective, it's really important for us to be able to promote the really good information that you all are doing and sharing with everyone else as well. Nobody can create all of the good information themselves. There's no monopoly on that. And so the more you create, the more we build a team of people who are listening and talking to each other in compliance and ethics.
I'm often asked questions, how do I get more involved with SCCE? And the first thing I do is point them to Roy Snell. But the second thing I do is I say, look, he is always looking for new content. He's always looking for people to contribute. And to that point, this week on the blog, I've seen 3 or 4 people blog for the first time. They've talked about their experiences at the conference. They've talked about how excited they were to be here. They've talked about how excited they were to be with a group of like-minded compliance individuals. So it's really been gratifying to see some new voices and the excitement they've brought to the blog.
Yeah, it's great, especially when you can convince people to kind of put their toe in the water from...
Oh, that's okay. We've just had Roy Snell bothering us, so having a little trouble with the power bar. I guess he didn't realize that we were recording a podcast, but that's all right. So the SCCE blog is really a fabulous resource. Yes, we're talking. Oh, Roy Snell just realized we were recording a podcast, so he sent Kortney back. Here she's back. So we were talking about the bloggers this week and some of the experiences they've shared.
Yes, like I was saying, it's really great to see people face to face and encourage them to blog. When people hear about blogging, they think it's a lot of pressure. They think, oh, I don't have anything important to say. What they don't realize is your story is important. Your experience is important. And the more people share it, the more people feel comfortable sharing it. So part of what we do on site here at our conferences is have a lot of people talk about social media and blogging. The transition is to turn people's fear into their curiosity about sharing the information and sharing what they have with everyone else.
You know, that's a great line. I've never heard it put like that, turning fear into curiosity. You've just given me a blog title, so thank you very much. So one of the blogs this week that struck me was a woman who, first-time attendee from Brazil, and she talked about flying 13 hours to get here. A little bit nervous, language skills, although she speaks English, was still didn't feel particularly comfortable. And what she found was 1,600 people just embraced her as a compliance professional, and I found that story inspiring.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we hear over and over about what sets this conference and our conferences apart is its family. Marjorie Doyle, one of our board members at the awards dinner the other night, got up and said, you're surrounded by 1,500 of your compliance friends and family. And we call this our family reunion meeting. People come and you make friends and you keep these connections on a personal level as well as a professional level. Because compliance is so new and it's still emerging as a profession, we're all in this together. We're all in the same boat, and there's no competition amongst people. So the atmosphere here is really very welcoming. And that sounds promotional, but it's also true.
Yes, and to that point, there are people who, if SCCE does have competitors, they were here at this meeting, and they were. I saw them embraced with open arms because they're part of the Greater Compliance Fellowship here, and that their voice and what they're bringing complements many of the things that you're doing.
Absolutely. We don't really have competitors as far as there's not people we compete with. We don't compete with anyone because, like you said, we're a compliance family. We're all doing this together to work towards a more compliant and ethical culture overall. Even if people are competing from a monetary perspective, when you get to a conference or you get on site with so many compliance professionals, it's not about the competition. It's about what can we do to build each other up. Nobody tears each other down in this space, and it's really very refreshing.
Kortney, one of the things that I hear when I encourage people to submit a blog to the SCCE is a couple of things. One is obviously the fear you talked about, but two is, well, I just don't have anything to say that someone would find relevant. And I hear that particularly from folks new to the compliance profession. And what I've found when those people blog, they talk about their experience in compliance at that point in time. which is different than my experience in compliance at this point in time, and indeed different from your experience. And what I have gotten from that is I see the questions and concerns they have at that point and what people like you and I can do to help them go to a different level in compliance. Have you seen anything like that?
Absolutely. Like you talked about, the fear of people thinking that they don't have anything to contribute because they haven't been doing it for 20 years. And when in fact it's just the opposite. The kind of wealth of perspectives that you get from the person who started last week to the person who's been doing this since before it was called compliance, all of that is needed to share the experience. That is the biggest fear, however, we hear about the blog. I'm new, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have anything to say. And it's quite difficult to get people to overcome that fear. But one of the things is just say, tell us your story. What is your experience with this? What are you having problems with, and where have you found success? And when you break it down to a simple level like that, they go, oh, I do have a story. I have something to tell people, and I like reading when other people tell me their things too. I also like to tell people to take inspiration from their daily lives. So with your blog posts, you'd often tie them into popular culture in some way. When I'm blogging, I try to do something similar. You see something perhaps on television, the radio, and it sparks, and you start thinking, and all of a sudden you've got a few paragraphs that you can relate to compliance in some way. And that is also such a real and authentic way to connect compliance to regular lives and to make it accessible for people who think that it's just a high-level kind of academic endeavor.
Kortney, we've talked about the blogging, we've talked about the LinkedIn group. You touched on another very powerful tool that SCCE has for its members called SCCE Net. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. SCCE Net it's open to the entire public. We don't lock it down for our members. But what it is the new version of what used to be called a listserv. We've got about 15,000 people on there. You can join by kind of region, location, or specialized topic area. But what it does is it serves as a sounding board for compliance professionals. You can post a question, and you're going to get people in this space responding to you who have the answers to that question. It's a really safe place to go ask questions, and there's really no consequences of not knowing the answer. We really like to encourage a lot of use on SCCE Net. And for people who are scared or perhaps they have some privacy issues, there is a mechanism for posting anonymously. So that's also an issue if you want to make sure that you're protecting all of the things that need to be protected on the corporate level. You can post a question and say, hypothetically, from anonymous user, I'm dealing with this situation. And at SCCE, we filter those answers back through to you. I will, however, say SCCE Net is a public forum in that it is indexed by Google, so don't put anything on there that you wouldn't want Google to eventually find. But it's also a really nice way to connect with people. Particularly this conference, we have groups on SCCE Net that meet for lunch. They say, oh, we're always on SCCE Net, we're always talking to each other, let's talk face to face. And so they arrange group meetups and they go have dinner together. So it's just another very friendly space, and this one is particularly focused to us.
Kortney, if someone wanted to get more involved in some of the efforts that you're engaged in, how would they do so?
Email us, call us, send a carrier pigeon, flag us down when you see us on site. It's really very easy. I am always talking to people, taking emails. My email address, can I give it?
You bet.
It's Kortney, Kortney .Nordrum, Nord, D as in David, RUM, at corporatecompliance.org. So if you're out there and you can hear me, email me and say, I heard Tom's podcast, I want to get more involved, and we can chat about it. I love talking to people who are passionate about getting involved but may not know exactly where to focus their energy.
Are there any efforts that you either are engaging in now that you would hope to come to fruition, or perhaps things you would like to do or see that members could assist or you could tell us about?
So So we're always working to build the presence we have. And this year, or the next 12 months, we're trying to focus more on video and audio. No promises, but we're hoping to move towards the podcast space. That's a coming soon kind of thing. And we're also trying to build out the blog. So the blog, we want to be more of compliance professionals talking to each other and becoming a resource in that manner, in addition to all of the normal kind of channels. Those were air quotes around normal.
What is normal?
Normal. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, the more traditional social media. I kind of see blogging, podcasting as, I call them advanced social media. No one just jumps into them without having a little experience in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, feeling comfortable engaging with others online in that kind of space.
For those of you who are not watching this on video, and since it's not on video, that's everyone, I'm sitting here with a woman with a demi-spiked hair talking about normal. So I had to ask her, what is normal?
Yes, it is. It's a faux hawk. I admit it. And normal definitely ranges, but normal is just basically the big three as far as traditional.
Right.
What's been done doesn't necessarily always have to be done, but it's just kind of commonplace. It's the underlier of things that we do every day. When you're talking social media, it's the ones that have been around the longest and have the farthest reach. Facebook. Even my mom has a Facebook. She knows I say that, so it's totally cool. Twitter. Twitter's been around quite a while and now has some legitimacy as a news source. And LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where you are if you're a professional. So those are the normal social media channels when I talk about them.
Well, Kortney, this has really been a great podcast for me. I hope the listeners have been able to get a sense of your enthusiasm and your just frankly love for what you do and how you do it. You're a great resource to the SCC and to people like me, and I hope people will contact you to get more involved with the organization.
Me too. Email me. Find me on social media. Thank you so much, Tom, for having me.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox again. I'd like to thank you for listening to this episode of the FCPA Compliance and Ethics Report. I am still taking a few last-minute applications for my upcoming FCPA Masterclass in Seattle. If you have any interest in learning about the best practices across a wide variety of industries for an FCPA compliance program, this is the class for you. It will be in Seattle on Monday, October 26th and Tuesday, October 27th. It is really the top class on the nuts and bolts of an FCPA compliance program. If you have any questions, you can email me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com, or you can check out my website, Advanced Compliance Solutions. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to visiting with you again.